Hi, my little cockapoo. Dad has a story he wants to read to you. It's called Those Darn Squirrels and the Cat Next Door. Here we go. Old man Fookwire lived on the edge of the forest just outside of town. He was a terrible grumpy, and in the wintertime he was even grumpier than usual. Whenever it snowed, he would shut his eyes tight and think of summer. He missed sunshine, suntan lotion, and weenie roast. But most of all, he missed the birds who flew south when it got cold. During the long, lonely winter months, the only critters left in the Forkwire's backyard were squirrels. Now, not many people know this, but squirrels are quite the champions of the forest. They are craftier than beavers, smarter than foxes, and swifter than rabbits. They are also full of mischief. When it got too cold outside, the squirrels would drop in through Forkwire's mail slot and visit him at home. They warmed themselves by the fire and finished the old man's crossword puzzles. When Folkwire woke up, he chases them out with a broom. Then he'd shake his old man fist and yell, "Those darn squirrels." Old man Forkwire thought springs would never come, but eventually the forest bloomed and the birds returned from their winter vacation. Whirlybirds chomped on tumbleberries, bugabirds snacked on honey snaps, and the fugelbird ate fairy seeds until he got so full he had to lie down. Folkwire danced through the yard with delight. He set up his easel and brushes. Then he painted the birds till he got blisters on his fingers. Tired and happy, the old man went inside for a quiet afternoon snack. Suddenly, kaboom! Old man Folkwire spilled cottage cheese all over his suspenders. Kabam! The fogelbird fell out of his nest. Kablooey! The squirrels had to restart their annual chess tournament. The noise was coming from the house across the stream. It was the sound of a small woman unloading enormous crates and moving in. Folkwire's new neighbor was a little old lady who, the town baker. The only thing sweeter than the theppies who baked, the The only thing cuter than the pies who baked was the little old lady herself. Everyone in town loved her, but no one could stand her cat, Muffins. He was a real jerk. Hugh didn't see things that way. She thought Muffins was a cuddly honey bunny. But after the infamous poodle incident, she decided to move to the forest so her cat could make some new friends. After unpacking her crates, the little old lady who baked a tumbleberry pie. Then she and Muffins went to say hello to their new neighbor. Folkwire despised conversation, so he hid behind the drapes. The squirrels were scared of the cat, but they hid inside the drain pipes. The birds weren't sure why everyone was hiding, but they stuffed themselves down the chimney just to be safe. Eventually, Who got tired of waiting for Folkwire to answer the door. She walked around the front, pushed the pie through the mail slot, and went home. Normally, old man Folkwire hated pie, but this one smelled delicious. He took a deep whiff and closed his eyes. When he opened them, the squirrels were licking the plate clean. "Those darn squirrels," shouted Folkwire. Full and happy, the squirrels tumbled from the house where Muffins ambushed them. The dastardly cat grabbed one squirrel and gave him a wet willy. He snatched another and gave her a noogie. Then he tied two squirrels together by their tails. Luckily, little old Who returned before Muffins could do more. She scooped him up and scratched him under the chin. Come now, Snookums, she cooed. It's time for dinner. You can play with your new friends another day. The next morning, Muffins burst into the yard, terrifying the birds and interrupting Old Man Fuquwire's painting. Then the sneaky cat pounced on an unsuspecting group of squirrels and gave them all wedgies. Not an easy thing to do because generally squirrels do not wear underpants. The squirrels were furious. The birds flew up to the treetops and refused to come down. And Old Man Fuquire was so upset he wrote a letter to the mayor to complain about his new neighbor. That night, the squirrels held a meeting to figure out what to do about the cat next door. They ate cheese puffs and drank ginger ale to help them think. Finally, they had it, the perfect plan. Whenever Muffin came over the next day, the birds were feeding peacefully beneath the tree. A wicked smile came across the cat's fluffy face. He wiggled his haunches and launched himself through the air. The frightened birds swooped into the sky, yanking the string the squirrel had tied to their tail feathers. The string sprang the trap, and the cat was doused with gallons of freezing cold water. Muffin set out a furious howl. Old Man Fuqua ran outside when he heard the terrible noise. Great googly moogly, he explained. That pathetic wretch is no bigger than a squirrel. It was true. Underneath all his fluff and fuzz, Muffins was nothing but a skinny mucken. He lowered his head in embarrassment and sloshed his way home as fast as he could. The squirrels' plan worked perfectly. They gave each other high fives. The baba bird snickered, the yawa birds chuckled, and the fugle bird enjoyed a hearty gruff. Fuquire snapped his suspenders with delight. Those darn squirrels, he said fondly. Old Man Fuquire never warmed up to his new neighbors. He was a grump, after all, but little old Lady Who became quite good chums with the birds and the squirrels. Each Saturday, when the bakery closed, she brought all the unsold cakes and pies and cookies home. She set them on her picnic table, and everyone gathered for a delicious, fun-filled feast. Everyone except the cat next door, who refused to leave the house ever again. And that's the end. Hope you enjoyed it, Anya. And remember, Granddad loves you. Goodbye.